This all started actually a really long time ago. Kim and I both come from very, very close families, and when we got married, the very first thing we wanted to do was to start a family. We tried the regular way. We tried with some medical intervention, and nothing was working.
We tried IVF, which is in vitro fertilization, and we tried that I started taking the injections for that in June of 2008.
The first one took initially, and so we were thrilled, we were happy, everything was going well. A couple weeks down the road, we found out that it wasn't working. We were crushed. We were as low as we could be, and you just wonder why, things happen the way they are. And the whole process just wasn't going the way we wanted it to go. At the time, we didn't know why, and it was tough.
It was really, really discouraging and so forth, and didn't know where to go to next. We were praying about it, and then Pam came over, my sister-in-law. She said, well, did you ever think about adoption? She started telling me about her mom, and her mom does missionary trips over to Russia, and she takes jackets and so forth and goes over and spends some time with the kids over in Russia. So we started looking into domestic adoptions, overseas adoptions. Russia kind of stuck out to me from there on. We flew over for the first time in February of 2010.
When we got to the orphanage, we knew that Matthew was 18 months when we met him the first time, and we saw him walking around the corner, and he came into the room, and I think we just instantly fell in love and knew that all the subtle, not only the subtle little nudges, but just the absolute just pushes and kicks in the rear end to get us to do what God needed us to do, led us to the right place. And it was like that. It was like an explosion of love. It was just amazing. An amazing moment. We went to the playroom, and the caregiver stuck Matthew in a ball pit. Well, he just cried. He just wailed. Kim went over to the ball pit and lifted him out of the ball pit, and as soon as she did, he just instantly snuggled into her shoulder and her arms, and he hugged her, and he just stopped crying right away. So we had just met Matthew. We had fallen in love. We were ready to bring him home. We're getting his room set, and Russia stopped all the processes.
Hefty fine for a Tennessee woman who adopted a boy from Russia and then sent him back on a one-way flight.
It was the absolute hardest, gut-wrenching moment. As bad as we thought the IVFs not working were, this was a million times worse, because we knew our son was there, but he's halfway across the world and we can't bring him home.
So in June of 2010, after they had shut down the adoptions for a little while, they started doing the adoptions again, but they required us to do much more paperwork to set up the second trip.
One of the pieces of paperwork we needed was 401k. One particular company I worked for didn't manage their own 401k accounts. And it was a company in Boston that handled it. And we needed the information the very next day. And we couldn't find anybody to get us this information. So I went into the building that I knew, and I asked for anybody who could handle this request that I needed. And they told me there was nobody there. So I went back to my car, and I'm really upset. The only thing I could think of doing was to pray. I said, God, I need somebody who knows what I need and knows how to get it and knows what I'm going through. I started the car, I put it in drive, and I could hear a voice as clear as if it was in the back of my seat. The voice said, go into the other building. And my car stopped. It just stopped. I had nothing else to do, and I was frantic. I'm getting upset. And I went into this other building, and I went up to the front desk. I told the man, I said, I need somebody who can help me with the 401k information. Pretty unclearly, I told him, I said, Russia adopting 401k, and the guy said, wait. He puts his hands on my shoulders, and he says, calm down. I've adopted from Russia. I know what you're going through. You tell me what you want, and I will get it. And it was an amazing direct response to prayer, to asking God for something specific.
Then we were off to court.
Russian courtrooms are very intimidating. There's a big desk up front where the judge sits. The guy representing Russia was in his full military uniform. The defendants in Russian courtrooms are kept in cages. So there's this big red cage. You can't help but walk into this room and just feel pretty small. It was instantly the intimidation and the challenge and everything like that sort of just went away. You could feel the presence of God and of angels and of anybody else who we needed was in that room with us.
So they called Ross up to speak, and at first I was kind of scared, but as he went along in his testimony, he was hitting every number exactly right, and the words were just flowing out of his mouth.
And she came back and she gave her ruling, and she ruled that yes, we were allowed to adopt him. And the feeling was incredible.
God was listening. He was there.